Welcome to Ark Survival Ascended Bootcamp, where we will be going over all the how-tos, where-tos, and what you will need to-dos. Today's video is going to be covering that first initial building theory, and we're going to be starting off with popcorn. You need to be thinking about how everything you place, all of your crafting structures, will be popcorning things. Popcorn usually comes out of a structure behind it. So when it comes to a refining forge, you place one down, you fill it up with all of its wood and metal, and then your entire base is over here. After this has been smelted, you need to grab it and move it. Now it's a lot easier with a teammate to move you to overweight yourself with all the slots. Now if you were to sit here, let's say my weight is like 500, I grab 300, that's all I can carry, I move it, I come back, I grab another 300, I move it. That is completely inefficient. Let's talk about how to popcorn things and then do so. Like, if I were to popcorn this, look at that. All of it's going in the wrong direction. Now I'd have to run over here, grab this, maybe my teammate would have to punch me around this, around that, all the way down there. Instead, if I were an intelligent Ark player, I would place my refining forge in this direction. So after all the metal is smelted, the popcorn is boom. Oh well, don't go too fast. All of the popcorn is sent towards the base. So that way when I grab it, maybe I don't even need a teammate, you know? I can just place what I need to place where it is as it is. That's what I'm talking about. That's what you need to be thinking about. Beginning refining reforges. Refining forges. They are placed in this direction on the edge of the foundation because the catwalk is going to force all the popcorn, instead of going backwards, it's going to come out the front. And we want all of our popcorn to be in this location. This is a centralized location where we want all of our popcorn to end up. So, just for an example, let's show you what I'm looking at. All of these forges are full. When you popcorn them, it's all going to come out right in front. So your teammate only has to move you to here and then back out. Or if you want to start here, punch it out, and then go to base. The refining forges on top are in this direction because there's nothing on top of them. The reason why the popcorn comes out in front as opposed to behind, like it would, is because of the catwalk and the refining forge on top causes the popcorn to only have one place to come out. So as you can see here, the popcorn isn't going to come out the front like the bottom, it's going to come out the back. Boom. So all the popcorn from the bottom and top rows is going to end up in the exact same location, which is what we need to do. It's going to cause your tribe to be much more efficient, getting stuff done much faster. Now, one thing to think about Ark Survival Ascended that we've confirmed is that walls are going to be taller. They're going to be taller than a storage box, a large storage box. So right now, walls are smaller. So if I were to put a ceiling here, it wouldn't cover it. Now in Ark Survival Ascended, the wall is going to be able, the wall and ceiling is actually going to cover the storage box. So that's one thing to think about, because that's going to determine how many walls or double door frames you can place your turrets at compared to your outlet. Now let's look at a turret box. Right now a turret box is built with a Jenny, an electric straight cable, an outlet, in 2 walls. Now this build might change because the walls are going to be taller. Right now, the 2 walls put the junction box perfectly under a ceiling, and then you can go at least 5 walls high with hatch frames to place your turrets. Now there is a way to make the Jenny go farther, which might not be an ASA. Alright, we're going to talk about junction box range. I turn the Jenny off. So you need to turn all the power off. So if there was a second Jenny that powered everything, which there is, which might be why that happened. Hold on. That might be exactly why. Alright. Alright, not connected. Aha! Wow. The way I teach myself every day. So, you saw how that wasn't connected, now it is. You have to turn all the power off to every Jenny before you can do this. So, junction box range is a lot farther than it initially shows. Just turn all the power off and make sure all the power's off. And then you turn that power back on. Boom. Now your junction box has way more range. And this, you have to do that every time you want to place a new turret outside the range. So, see, like, I'll place one closer. Not connected. Alright, let's just do it this way. I'll place one closer. Not connected. Da da da. You're basically you have to reset the junction box connection, and then I'll do one further away. Okay. All right. Both heavies are not connected. One's closer. One's farther. Turn all that power off, and they're already reconnected. Okay, that's funny. Turn the power back on, and you see the one closer is connected. The one further away is connected. Now, what is that? What is that farthest distance reconnection? Well, I recommend using 2 players. You know, you got one player placing a turret. You've got the other guy turning the gen off and on. Apparently, they'll connect when you turn the gen off. But, okay, that one's too far. So this is pretty much your limit right there. But yeah, that covers junction box range and how to increase it. Just turning the Jenny off and on. Not just that Jenny. You have to make sure all the power that goes to that junction box is off. And yeah, I will go back to the original video. I just had to recover that. So that's something to think about when you're talking about the Jenny and the outlet and how many walls you have to go up or can go up and hatch frames to connect your turrets. That's something that will need to be place tested. Right now, I can place this turret box with the straight cable, the outlet, 5 hatch frames and turrets, and they're still connected. Now, when it comes to cable management for your main base, you're going to want to place the cable 1 foundation lower than your actual base. Or not your base. 1 foundation lower than your actual foundations. So, if I were to build on a perfectly flat area, or even not perfectly flat, this is something that you're going to have to, you know, I would build in single player before you do it in game. But this is built in theory. Okay, so these are things to know, so that way you can actually attempt to do. Let's get rid of all this spam, because I'm going to do it here. Okay. So I've got a foundation. Now, this is a foundation of the base that I want to build. Let's go a little different. Alright, let's go right here. Okay. Now, you place a pillar to lower a foundation. Basically 1 step is what I'm going to call it. So that's 1 step lower. Now, I don't need the pillars, so I'll pick it up. Now for my cable, I like to do intersection cables. And I like to place them on the foundation, up against the next foundation. There we go. And then back it up. Boom. Now I have 3 outlet locations that are covered in foundation. And they will be covered when I replace this foundation. So this one was connected to the pillar. That's why it's lower. Now this foundation is connected to this one, so they're going to be the same level. So now this intersection is sticking out, but the outlet is inside the foundation. Put one here, put one here, put one here. All 3 of these outlets cannot be destroyed unless you destroy the foundation covering it. Now the cable can be destroyed, but you know, you're more than likely going to have that covered. And that will stop your build from being destroyed as fast. So if I had a C4, just takes 1 for a foundation. So that probably destroyed the outlet that was right there. Let's wait for the debris to go away. Look at that. The outlet survived an entire C4. That's why you build your outlets inside foundations. Build that up. Now everything's gone. But it took 2 C4 instead of 1. That's going to give your base that much more chance to stay alive. Especially if you have metal foundations. So it's going to take 5 C4 to blow up a foundation. And then your outlet is still alive. Alright? So all of this is going to be built out of metal. I have it built in stone now. For realistic purposes, within the first 24 hours, you're probably not going to have enough metal to build your base out of... I mean, the first 12 hours. You're not going to have enough metal to build your base out of metal if you rush your forges. Otherwise, this will all be built out of metal. But initially, it'll be built out of stone, and then you just replace... You can just replace... everything with metal. Replaced. Just like that. Now there's a way to double up walls and doors, but you're gonna want to keep your resources as efficient as possible. So this is just a single layer wall and doors. I'll go over all of the different building tips and tricks in a different video. This one's just based on how to get that initial auto turret base set up and focusing on accessing turrets. So you're not going to have a Sinnoh, you're not going to have many flyers, you know, PTs and RGs you probably have, but you might not always have grapples. You might die, and then you have to run around naked refilling turrets. You know, these are all possibility. You want to set yourself up to be able to access your turrets without any help, without no grapples, nothing, because that may happen. That's why there's all these ladders. So you want to have at least 2 different ways to access your turrets. Because if you only have one way to access your turret, there could be a sniper watching that. And that's an easy way to get sniped. So if I run over here and it's the only way up, I could easily be sniped off this ladder. But now that there's 2 ways, they have to watch 2 different ways. So up here, set up your ladders so that way you can access all your turrets. Like so. Now you might be thinking, why is this double door frame here? Well, you want your really, really, really high turrets to be set up in a way that you can access them with grapples. So let's get some grapples. Let's say we just died, and all of our turrets are shooting, and we know that we have to refill our turret tower. Now this is the building theory I'm talking about. Those double door frames are set up, so I grab some turrets from in-base, I've got a grapple, boom. Just grapple up here, cut, and now I can fill my turrets. Something to think about. Set up grappling points to where you want to, access your turrets. Campfires and storage boxes are perfect things, buildings to use to jump onto industrial forge sides. So these ceilings are set up to control the popcorn. So you can popcorn as fast as you want. All of it's going to come out right here. Now you can do a 3 forge, a 2 forge, or a 1 forge build. I went with a 3 forge build because it's the most forges. And if you're constantly farming, you're going to get charcoal. You can do 2, you can do 1. One thing you're going to want to do is have hatch frames. These hatch frames allow you to pull your metal and your charcoal out of your indie forges and put them straight into where they need to go. How do you access these forges? Well, you hop onto your fabricators, your smithies, anything you have built inside. Hop onto them to access your forges, pull your metal and charcoal out. Now, how do you jump onto a fabricator? Well, you can't just regularly jump onto it. It's too tall. That brings me back to my other point. Campfires and storage boxes, the regular ones. Those are perfect stepping stones to get you up onto your builds to access your indie forges. Now, if you have a 2 or a 1 indie forge build, you can probably have your hatch frame set up to the point where all you have to do is jump to access your indie forge. With a 3-part indie forge, they're all placed like in the center of where the hatch frames connect. So for this specific build, you have to be on something in order to access, which for me is perfect, because let's say I want metal in this fabricator because I want to make more indie forges, what have you. I want metal in this smithy because this is where we're crafting, metal foundations. Well, I get on the smithy, that's where I can access it, and then I access the indie forge, grab the metal, put it in the smithy. I want to make bullets. Your bullet fabricators are going to be next to your chem benches, because your chem benches are going to make your gunpowder. You need gunpowder to make bullets. These are shotgun bullet smithies, because the chem benches are below. You need gunpowder to make all your bullets for your shotgun. So, bada bing, bada boom. Can access this. Put the metal in here. Go down to my chem bench. Oh, here we go. Alright, storage box. Now we're up. Access chem bench. Put the gunpowder into the smithy. Create your, not the smithy, into the fabricator and create your bullets. Alright, generator placement. You're going to want your generator completely covered, so that way they can't do this. Anybody can turn your generator off or pull the gasoline out. Generators cannot be locked. So how do you lock them? Well, you cover them with foundations, walls, ceilings, and a door, so that way your tribe can access your generator, refill it with gas. But another person can't get in here, per se, and then just turn the Jenny off in 2 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, you want to do everything to build, get yourself some time. So generators are always covered with it as much as you can cover them with. Catwalks. Catwalks instead of ceilings, because catwalks take up less space. So if I had a ceiling here, I wouldn't be able to walk. I would have to crouch and go. So you're going to want to put stuff on catwalks instead of ceilings. Like, I can just walk through here. If I had ceilings, I would have to crouch, and that's just going to delay your efficiency. So, I was talking about cables and outlets. So when you have your outlets underneath, they can reach quite a bit. This is 2 different layers. So what I had to do was I lowered the foundation here, place the cable as my beginning point, and then put a foundation back on top of it to create my floor, which caused this junction box to be outside the foundation. So I should have placed my cable how I did the last time I just showed it, so that way 3 of the outlets were covered. That's just something to think about. Chem benches. You're going to want to rush chem benches as soon as possible, because a mortar and pestle turns 2 flint into 2 spark, and obviously a stone. chem bench turns 8 spark into 12, or 8 flint into 12 spark powder. So it's a 1.5x efficiency rate compared to a mortar and pestle. Chem benches are better than a mortar and pestle. Not only do they craft faster, they craft more, but they craft it more efficiently, and that is the biggest kicker. Campfires are going to be how you make most of your cooked meat. If you really want to make a grill, you can. Grills can be placed probably outside the base because all they require is gas. Fabricators also just require gas. Now, chem benches, one thing to think about, require both power and gas. So chem benches have to be close to your generator or an outlet. So you're always going to want to make sure that you don't place your chem benches too far away from your initial base. They need to be probably the closest thing that goes to your base. Fabricators and smithies can be a little bit further away. Metal hatch frames for your turrets provide the least amount of line of sight. So you're always going to want to put your turrets on metal hatch frames. Giant metal hatch frames. Because they have 15,000 health. 15,000 health is the most amount of health that you're going to get out of metal structures. Besides giant metal walls, but we don't really use those. Because it's the same as the foundation. So it's going to require 5 C4s to destroy that metal hatch frame. Giant metal hatch frame. Or lots of rockets. Now the turrets themselves will be destroyed, but the giant metal hatch frame will be there, so you can just replace your turret, repair your hatch frame. So always use giant metal hatch frames for your turrets. You don't want to use ceilings, because if you use a ceiling, a turret located right there is not going to be able to shoot me right here. But a turret placed right there can shoot me right here. You see what I'm saying? Double door frames. Always use double door frames. No walls, no regular door frames. Because line of sight. If there was a regular door frame here, I could stand here and that turret would shoot me. Hell, that turret would shoot me. But because I used double door frames, now I'm getting shot by that turret and that turret by standing here. And you can see where I'm going with this. Line of sight. Build the least, but by also building the most efficient. Another reason to use double door frames as opposed to regular door frames is health. Health and C4 cost. So you always want it to cost the most C4 as possible. That will lead to better survival rates. The more C4 you make your opponent spend, the better. Especially in these beginning initial stages, because you're not going to have a Strider, you're not going to have these OP farming methods. Everything is going to cost something, and the more you make them use, the better. So, double door frame. 1, 2, 3. Now, a wall will be 4 C4, but a double door frame is 3. So we'll do it again. So why use double as opposed to regular? Well, a regular door frame and door. 1, 2. There you go. 2 C4 to get in as opposed to 3. You know, there's just one more C4 they have to use. The same thing goes for ceilings. Now, if I were to put my turrets on ceilings, let's replace this actually. So let's go with foundation. And a wall. And a ceiling. Alright, if I were to put my turret on a ceiling, it's only going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Ceiling gone. Alright, now, and I probably don't even need to show this, but if I were to actually have it on, that's a stone. If I were to have it on a giant metal hatch frame. And it's basic C4 to metal health math. 4C4 doesn't work, it requires 5. So everything you're doing, every single little thing you build is just costing that one extra C4 as opposed to somebody who doesn't know what they're building is building. Alright, ground turrets. Ground turrets aren't going to be that necessary in the beginning of ASA because ground turrets are going to stop hatch frame Quetzals and racers from being able to cheese your base, being able to, you know, build enough to just walk up to them and then blow in. But ground turrets will still be important eventually, so make sure you're placing your ground turrets as well as your giant metal hatch frame turrets. I mean, ground turrets are the strongest turrets. Why, do you ask? Because in order to blow up this turret, I either have to soak it and rocket it, or run up and C4 it. Let's put that in perspective as to a turret on a hatch frame. In a different build, a turret on a hatch frame can technically be destroyed by running under it if it's the only turret, grappling up to it. So a turret cannot shoot me when I'm underneath it like this. And then just placing a turret, placing a C4 on it. I could blow up that C4 and that turret would be down. It cannot shoot me. Ground turrets will be able to shoot you no matter what. You have to run up to them and C4 them or soak them. So ground turrets are your best friend. Now, I don't really want to leave that C4 there because I'll forget it. Then blow this up. Where did that go? I see it. It's right there. There we go. Okay. And that pretty much covers building 101. I talked about the ladders, the storage boxes. Oh, the 3, 2, 1, and indie forges. Okay, let's go over that real quick. You want to place a ceiling above your indie forge popcorn spot, which is right here at the like, I don't know, valve looking spot, because the ceiling stops the popcorn from going straight up. If you don't have a ceiling there, the popcorn, especially on a laggy server, is just gonna fly straight up. It's gonna go into the abyss. But with a ceiling, even a ceiling as small as this, even a ceiling as small as that, is gonna stop that popcorn from skyrocketing. You see how it kind of stops it from skyrocketing? Now, if I was in a really laggy server and I went to popcorn and it still, you know, shot into the sky, then just add more ceilings. Just add another ceiling. There we go. Now the popcorn cannot fly. Now the 3 forge setup needs to be exactly like so. Alright, you got 1 forge in the back, far to the left, 1 forge on the right, far to the right, and then you got 1 forge perfectly in the center. And you're going to want to test this. It's got to be perfectly in the center. If this forge is too far to the left, the popcorn goes behind it. If it's too far to the right, the popcorn on this one will go behind it. So the way that they are now is absolutely perfect for the 3 forge setup. All the popcorn is going to pop out right here. That's exactly how you want to set up your structures. So that way the popcorn is exactly where you need it. Storage space. You need avenues and storage space inside your base, because you're going to have multiple people running around. Or hell, if you're by yourself. But let's talk about multiple people, because tribes are made of multiple people. Smithies, 75 storage. Fabricators, only 70 and bigger. So smithies are actually going to be some of your best storage boxes. When you can finally make vaults, vaults are the king of storage, because nothing else comes close. Dedicated storage boxes will come with tech. Like I said, getting tech on ASA is going to be extremely difficult. So vaults are, for all intents and purposes, 2 walls high. Alright, let's get rid of this. So you have to make sure you're building your vaults at least 2 walls. There you go. So a vault has to be within at least 2 walls high. Otherwise, they can destroy it. Anything that's poking out can be destroyed. Like, even this fabricator is technically placed incorrect, because this fabricator can be destroyed through the wall. Now, the chances of somebody coming up here and destroying this fabricator with C4 or a rocket is pretty freaking low, because if that's happening, they're already in, right? If the fabricator wasn't poking out or was, it wouldn't matter. Either way, they're getting in and destroying it. And especially when somebody's breaking through a wall, they're going to destroy anything on the other side. So, having your fabricator poking out, not that big of a deal. When Scorched Earth gets released, now you have to worry about flame arrows. You have to worry about... actually, will rockets be? I actually don't think rockets will be in ASA, now that I think about it. Oh, they will. Doesn't require propellant at all. Okay, so you're going to have rockets and C4 during ASA. My bad, never mind. But flame arrows will be only during Scorched Earth release. So the beginning of ASA, you don't have to worry about them. And that's what we're talking about. Ladder. So, the 3 forge build also has a center of the forges that you can fall through. So, these hatch frames are built specifically to stop people from being able to fall through the middle of these and then, you know, blow in with C4. And the large bear trap is going to stop anybody from, like, throwing a stego or having a stego fall off, like, a quetz onto the base. That's another big building tip. Put large bear traps on top of your base, because people will throw carbos, they'll throw stegos, they'll try to throw soakers, they can even drop a racer on your base, honestly. You don't want to have stuff dropped onto your base. Now, this isn't going to happen in the beginning. This is going to be a later thing, so that's why I'm not, like, covering it in depth. But, you know, just put down as many bear traps as you can. You'll see a lot of builds where they only have, like, 1 bear trap on a catwalk. That's useless. You want to put as many bear traps as you can, as close as you can. 100%. Alright, the campfires stop you from falling into the middle of the 3 forges. So this is all a part of the building theory. You're going to want to play test your build, make sure it works, make sure you can access everything you need to access, make sure your popcorn is going exactly where you want it to go. Be mindful that the popcorn wants to go behind the thing that you place. So if I'm standing here, place it here, the popcorn's going to want to go behind it. But it can't go behind it if I block it off, like these catwalk and forges above. And when I have indie forges, I'm actually going to destroy all of these refining forges, because LOS. You want to build as least as possible, but most effective. So I would destroy all these forges and these foundations to take away the LOS from my base. And that pretty much covers all the building theory. I might go over different building tips and tricks to show you how to lower foundations, how to place different double door frames, you know, height things that might be in ASA, they might not. I think everything's going to be the same besides the height of the walls, but we can only guess and assume, right? But that covers this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.